Hoi there, small fry, and welcome to Itch.io Tasty, the series where we take a random word, put it into itch.io, and see what sort of interesting games we find ourselves. With Doom being the big game release of the past week, certainly more of a release than Homefront the fucking Revolution, I decided I'd pop Doom into Itch.io Tasty and, well, see what we find, as is the conceit of the series, as I already explained. I chose not to use any of the Doom mods that popped up. Quite a few of those popped up. Maybe we'll do a separate thing on those one day. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe. I just took some of the interesting games. There's quite a few, and I had to be selective. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Doom Trump Balloon to work, but you can look at a little bit of a video here. How marvellous. First up on the chopping block is Doom Dreams. This is not so much a game as it is a thing that you can walk around in, I guess. There is a gun in the centre of the screen, presumably being held by the person whose view you're seeing, but you can't shoot it. There's nothing to shoot, even if you could shoot it. It's just a weird little map thing. Supposedly this whole thing is based off the dreams that the developer had after they'd been playing Doom too much, so yeah, that's something, I guess. That's something to do with someone's time. I looked around, I was poking through all the there's those little crannies and nooks and little pathways and stuff. I was hoping to find maybe some sort of secret, some pot of gold at the end of the grey and red rainbow, but couldn't find anything, so sorry, but this one just, it doesn't do anything for me. Out of 10. That was the score, it was out of 10. Evil Robot of Doom crushes innocent town due to parliamentary disagreement is a frustrating game. It's frustrating because it should be pick of the week. In fact, it kind of is. I normally pick one of the week and you know, because that's the good one that we found. And this one should have been it. It's got a really nice idea. You're basically a robot destroying everything over a parliamentary disagreement. The robot automatically moves and you use the mouse to aim up and down, or even full 360 degrees, and shoot the people on the floor and the planes that are flying towards you. The trouble is, it's, as you can see just from looking at it, bloody obnoxious. The screen shakes constantly, things fly in at you, and the actual controls are really, awkward. You'd think it would be really easy to manipulate, just move the mouse up and down, but there's so much lag, and the arm swings so wildly that you can't really aim at anything. There are two alternate fire modes that you can use with the mouse wheel. There's the machine gun and the rocket, and the machine gun is the only one worth using, because at least then, while you're wackily moving up and down trying to shoot at things, you get a chance to hit something with the spread of the fire. Otherwise, yeah, I'm disappointed, because I really do want to like this, and I'm trying not to slag off games on this series. We do enough of that, and I'm trying to find fun things to do, and I really thought this would be fun, but I couldn't stand it after a while. It's just such an assault on the senses that it really, really did let me down, so I'm afraid this one's going to get a cack out of O-Demon. The cack-O-Demon. Cack means... Cottage of Doom has by default become pick of the week. Not because it's particularly brilliant, but because out of them all, it's the only one I could really sort of stand to play for too long. It's okay. It's okay. You control it as you would, say, Diablo or any other mousy-clicky, dungeon-crawly thing. You use the right mouse button to fire your gun, you use the left one to open doors, or you hold it to disassemble furniture for wood and bullets, or to go over to doors and you hold it and then it fixes up the door so the zombies don't bash it down. Now, you'd think that it would be some sort of wave-based defensive game, except there's nothing to defend. It doesn't matter if the zombies break in, because it's really more effective to just run around the cabin shooting the zombies, only going into the cabin to disassemble the furniture that randomly and rather alarmingly spawns out of nowhere to get more resources. Otherwise, I mean, it's okay. It's just okay. The character tends to get caught on things a little too easily. It's hard to maneuver them around. The whole clicking to move thing here is rather unresponsive as it is. You can hold it to move as well, but like I say, it's sort of slow and unresponsive moving the character there. With some more time and work behind it, I feel like this one could actually be quite decent. But as I say, it's all right. It's free. It's okay as shooters go. I'm really puzzled as to why they put in the defensive element, why you're fixing things up as if it's zombie mode or something, since there's no benefit to delaying the zombies. In fact, even when they're right up near you, you've got to actively try to get hit by them to get hit by them. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a shotgun guy out of 10. Escape from the Bunker. This is another one that has the nucleus of a good game in it. This has the potential, but unfortunately there's just something off about it. The first thing that's an issue is the map. There are many dead ends, but they're annoyingly placed without much warning. It's like randomly generated, but there are so many dead ends it just gets annoying. You know, the occasional dead end, fine, but there's just no point to them, and they come across more like a fuck you from the game to the player. Opening doors, very slow. You have to keep waiting for the doors to sluggishly open. And as for the combat, the starting weapon is fucking pants, but once you find the machine gun or the shotgun, the game gets significantly better. Even then, though, you are just kind of being rushed at by very random character models that really are good at trapping you. Like if the hedgehog enemies, for example, touch you and you get caught by them, you can't actually move away from them, and they will just chew your health down, and it's kind of a pain in the arse. So yeah, the actual combat is really kind of basic at best, and just sort of unpleasant at worst as it gets you trapped and caught on things. So that's a letdown. I mean, it's nice enough to look at. It's not brilliant. It's not particularly edifying, but it's not hideous. And the enemy sort of creatures, they're kind of cute-ish. And there's an upgrade system on the weapons and stuff. And so yeah, like I said, it's got the potential. It's trying to be good, but it's held back by a lot of weird design decisions and a lot of things that are just kind of left unfinished, certainly feel like they've been left unfinished. So this one gets John Romero's head on a spike. Bad Mood is just a mess, unfortunately. It's a wave-based shooter where you're surviving against enemies that spawn, and various weapons that seem quite inspired by Doom appear. They sort of pop up on the map as you progress. You start with a little dinky little pointless gun and get shotguns and mini guns and rocket launchers, that sort of thing. It's got an interesting multiplayer mode. There is a split screen modes and whatnot, where one character is spawning the enemies and things, and the other player is surviving against it. Very similar to the zombie, the multiplayer in Zombie / well, it wasn't in Zombie, it was in Zombie U, the original version, you know, that Wii U game, what Ubisoft popped out and nobody bought, even though I thought it was actually quite bloody good. Unfortunately, as you can just see from here, it's just a cacophony. The character models have no animations, and they just kind of appear from nowhere and just kind of zoom towards you, and I'm going to keep saying just kind of, because apparently that's what I'm doing right now. But anyway, the point is I did not like this at all. No thank you. Probably less fun even than Evil Robot, in terms of just how the obnoxiousness of it is driving down my entertainment. It's really hard to get a bead on anything that's happening, and it's just it's a clusterfuck, unfortunately. Again, with a lot of the games that I've found, you can see it almost trying nearly to be good. There's potential, but this one has just a load of work that needs doing with it before it gets anywhere near playable even. So unfortunately, this one is going to get Stinky Pinky out of 10. Total Invasion is bad, but I kind of have a soft spot for it. Clearly, just from the visuals, it's not particularly brilliant looking. The combat is questionable. It's basically a boomerang that you've got. It's a sickle. It's a sickle, but it acts like a boomerang. You fling it at an enemy and it flies back to you. Except there's something off-center about the aiming, and there's no reticle, so it's really hard to line up a shot. and the maze-like gameplay is a pain in the arse, as you've got to find a key somewhere in the level and then find the door to the exit. So the whole thing is not good at all, and yet I played it for quite a while, not necessarily enjoying myself, but nonetheless thinking, yeah, I'm spending my time doing this and I'm not making myself stop, even though I really ought to. So yeah, it's a curious one, this, very curious. It's not good at all, but I feel no compulsion to have a go at it. So this is just going to get a very middle of the road, very mundane, very inoffensive imp. Then there's this thing, Space Kitty versus the Astro Dogs. I don't see the point of this one. Not only is the visual style of it just eye-raking, the combat, such as it is, seems to be very much a one-way street. You go down long corridors, finding rooms full of these Astro Dogs, and they don't seem to fight back. You just fire at them in a madcap, haphazard way, just at them, and they explode into stakes. And that seems to be all there is to the game. I tried to find some other point to it, but I haven't. Maybe further research is needed, but my first impressions of it are, I don't get it. I don't get it. Is this memes? Mayhaps? Who knows? I don't know, but they compared it to Doom, first-person Doom-style space roguelike. It's not any of those... Well, it's first-person. I can't really say it's not any of those things like I was gonna, so... Yeah, this one gets wolf and brine. I don't know where I was going with that. And that's it for Itch.io Tasty. There are some other examples. Some of them I couldn't get to work. Some of them just were too tenuous a link. But otherwise, yeah, Doom didn't bring up too much good stuff. But then I didn't check out the mods. That might be where the real money is. So that's something to do in future. Maybe when they release Doom 2. What would Bethesda need to call the next Doom? Because obviously they're going to make a sequel, given how well this one seems to be doing so far. Doom... They'd have to do a colon and just some subtitle, wouldn't they? They'd have to. They couldn't just do Doom 2, could they? Would they be so bold? Well, we'll find out one day, but until then, get itchy and stay tasty, my friends.